Suzuka, the fans have been pouring in so far all weekend. They are here supporting every single different driver with their incredible creations as well. They are out in force to watch what happens at this Japanese Grand Prix. And we're about to get underway here for second practice ahead of this third race of this 2026 season, which is now down to just 22 races, of course. There's a big break after this one. But boy, are we making the most of this final race for the April break, if you like, Bernie.
Yeah, I think the teams have to, don't they? It's a last chance to get points on the board before teams will inevitably bring updates through that break. So very, very crucial, this one, I think, and very different to the last few circuits that we've had, and I think that's been a real challenge.
Obviously, China was different because they had the sprint. They only had the one practice session. Back to normal here with the 3 practice sessions. What do you think we learned from P1?
It's tricky out there, isn't it? The wind's changing quite a lot. It's changing again as we're stood here. The track's been, a lot of it's been resurfaced, so I think the drivers are trying to get on top of the grip that's available out there, particularly through this S's section here. That's a fantastic section of track, and the driver can really make a difference there. So they are trying to get ahead of it.
And they also, a lot of them have issues at Spoon as well. We think that's because of the wind around there. But as Jensen was saying during the session, they're having to take corners differently this season, so they're learning.
Yeah, basically how the engines are working are very different to what happened last year. So initially on the straight, they've got massive acceleration, much more acceleration than they had before. Then towards the end of the straight, that speed is sort of dropping away a little bit. And that means that they come to the braking zones with a very, very different speed in the car. And there's a lot of imbalance, I think, through. And we've seen this mistake quite a lot, actually, in P1. We've seen a lot of this turn 14 for pretty much every car. So they're going to have to readdress that balance and try and stay ahead of the track as the wind changes, as the track grips up. Every run is going to be, every lap, one lap's going to be different.
Well, it was the 2 Mercedes, as we've seen previously this season, that were top of the times. George Russell just ahead of his teammate Kimi Antonelli by 2 100s. Let's hear from both of them now, though, on the title challenge they're hoping to mount this year.
Yeah, I still need to, this season, get 2-3 more, but, in a short term. But, of course, I really want to be in this fight. Because we have a great car and great opportunity. Of course, still, definitely, there's one thing that I'm lacking is experience still, because it's only my second year and experience is something that you cannot buy, but I'm gonna try to be ready for anything and for every kind of situation, just to be able to put myself in the best position as possible in case the opportunity presents. So I know we have a really good car, and I'm gonna try to maximize every result, and hopefully this weekend is gonna be a good one.
It's race 2 of 22 races, so I'm not even thinking anything about a championship. My relationship with Kimi is very good, the same as it's been since we've been teammates, and I see no reason for that to change. He's a really fantastic driver. He's been super quick last year, this year, so it's not something I've even given consideration to. It's just focus on myself, put the helmet on, drive as fast as possible, and try and win the race.
They're saying all the right things, Bernie, but actually when you look at that session earlier, the McLarens were closest, not the Ferraris in that session. So they're right, they've got to get the points in the bag now.
Yeah, Mercedes do. They know that. Both drivers know that, and they don't want to let the other one get too far ahead as well. So, can Kimi Antonelli be more consistent through this year? You really start to see the benefit of him being in that car last year, I think. So they'll be keen to get the points on the board as early in the season as they can, in case the others come quickly. P1 too early to judge us.
What about the Ferraris? They're obviously third and fourth. I mean, we're having 2 by 2 by 2 in that session, so 5th and 6th for those two. What do you make of them around here? And are they going to struggle here with the high-speed corners a bit more than the other track?
We don't know yet. I think a lot of people really struggled to get the best out of the soft tyre, and the P1 lap time was really set by how good they were at getting the first lap on that soft.
Oh, well, lucky I came back when I did.
Actually did their laps very, very early in the session. Ferrari a bit later, so they'll take that learning into P2 hopefully, and another chance, that's all.
Okay, well, we will see exactly how this second session unfolds very, very shortly, though. But Kimi Antonelli, second youngest race winner in Formula One, of course, last time out in China, will be trying to pit his teammate George in this session. 2 100s between them, and the two McLarens just a tenth behind them earlier on. So, on the way next, it will be second practice for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Ah, yes. Not too far away from second practice. Getting underway. The light has progressively dimmed in this room, so, yeah, we're going to have to change that. We will change that. A bit more light now, into the room. A bit more light. But yeah, give me your predictions up in the chat as to who will top second practice, because a prediction is better. So yeah, if you're watching, if you're listening, give me your predictions up in the chat as to who will top this weekend, as well as to who exactly top this weekend. Interesting. Hello, please, internet. Okay. Note to self, internet is slow. Note to self, note to flippin' self. Internet is flippin' slow. She's slow. Oh yeah, come on. Come on, there we go. There we go. There we go, come on, speed up, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, we're not too far away from second practice. The first 5 or so minutes will be done by the world feed, so listening, watching will be quite fun. Just currently on ad break at the moment, and if I don't want to get copyrighted, flipping egg, I can't play the ad breaks. I don't want to get copyrighted. Jesus. Yeah. Come on, ads. Please end. Please, please, please end. That would be ideal. Hello, welcome in, Piyush CR07. Welcome in, my friend. How are you? How are you? Hope you're doing well. If you are doing well, hope you are. That doesn't make sense, does it? Flipping it. Tell how bored I am. Jeez. Hope you're doing well. Fine, bro. Thank you. Come on, lads. Please end. That would be absolutely amazing. I'm waiting for ads to end because, you know, I don't want to get copyrighted. Unless you want me to listen. Why'd you put title Japan Practice 2? Because Practice 2 is like 4 minutes away from getting underway, and yeah, so that's why I put it. And you know, you can't have coverage that goes ad break free, can you? Can't do that. You always have to put ads through coverage, don't you? So that's the reason why I'm sitting here trying to kill time. I can immediately notice that I'm not apparently doing very well at it. So yeah, like probably 4 minutes away now. Most likely 4 minutes away from the start of second practice. It's due to start at 5 o'clock my time, or I think it's like 3 o'clock something. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's now run you through Sky Sports and what their coverage will look like.
Put your alarm clocks to good use this weekend. These are the times you need. We have practice 2 on the way next. The F1 show tonight, this morning I should say, is from 7:15. Saturday looks like this. Final practice at 2:15. Qualifying at 5, and your race day looks like this. We're on air from 4:30 in the morning. It is lights out in Japan at 6 a.m. The Japanese Grand Prix. Drivers getting ready. Fernando Alonso is back in the Aston Martin, having missed out on first practice. Taking you through this session, it's David Croft and Karun Chandok.
It's time for free practice 2, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back in approximately 2 minutes whilst I go get my food.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're in the world. Welcome along to the Suzuka
I can't show you.
International Racing Course. It's
Copyright.
It's the home
Can't
of
show
the
you.
Japanese Grand Prix for the first time ever. The Japanese Grand Prix is taking place in the very
I show you, I get banned.
March. It is round 3 of this Formula 1 season.
It's like any other streamer.
26, the 40th World Championship Japanese.
Isaac, you're not new because you got mod. I know who you are, you're Jasper.
Long, the only figure of 8 track on the calendar. Active Aero, straight line mode,
Jasper House.
Straights approaching 130R. Overtake mode will be detected in that final corner sequence, the chicane and turn 18, which is a bit tricky in these gusty conditions for the drivers today. C3, C2, C1, the tyre compound is the hardest in the Pirelli range, and the compound will be a step harder than they were last year. And what a glorious sight. It was a gorgeous day in this part of Japan, some 30 miles.
I don't want people that are brand new, so
The wind is still
you have to be here for at least more than 3 or 4 streams. And longer than 30 minutes for each
What a
stream.
day to be alive.
I don't mod people that are new.
Formula 1 racing driver at this circuit, amongst a few in the calendar, one that you all look forward to driving.
It's just a wonderful place to be. You know, you see the fans out there, they're packing the grandstands. But the luckiest people are those 22 guys getting to drive around the track. I'm so jealous every time anyone gets to go around the circuit, because it is a wonderful ribbon of asphalt that you get to experience. I went trackside properly and watched.
And then you
in the first practice session,
monitored me,
various points along the track.
and then I haven't seen you
Can't
stream
miss
since
it.
like
You know,
5 years
you
ago.
really see them
Oh!
exercising themselves.
Are
You
you...
know, Formula 1 cars really.
Are you the guy that joined the Bathurst 12-hour stream?
I was actually stood outside our office at the TV compound, where I could see a little bit, but not a huge amount, until they went through Dunlop, and trying to detect which engine was which. And there's no doubt about it, the Audi you can hear long before.
Oh, welcome back, man. Hello. Sorry, I lost with my... Finally, you recognised me. Oh, welcome back. What do you think whose car is going to be best? Well, if you've watched Formula 1 so far this year, I can only say one word to you: Mercedes. Yes, Mercedes are probably the greatest car at the moment. So, if I was to say any car, Mercedes. Shocker. And they've got like a 60-point margin already in the constructors. Stand corrected if I am. But welcome back. You've changed your name. Hello, Isaac. Hello, Isaac. You've changed your name. Jeez. What is your favourite driver? Good question. Favourite driver? Couldn't remember. Jeez, I couldn't remember. I couldn't even remember. I was like, Isaac. And you had 6-7 next to your name. And you're the only... Oh, jeez. Yes, I remember you now. My favourite driver, probably Oscar Piastri. I'm an Aussie, of course. I'm even eating Japanese food. Interesting. I don't know what brand of these noodles are, but flipping heck, they're good. Max? Interesting. Max fan, eh? Max fan. Interesting. Ted Kravitz down at the pit lane.
I believe he was on IndyCar duties, was he not? So, yeah, he is here to oversee what has so far been a promising and positive start to their weekend.
Would have thought you would have been said when you whingy Feeny.
The words of Andrea Stella speaking to the media during the
Okay, so it's Harrison.
Good session. So in many ways, that's a good thing. It's not a battery issue, although hydraulics.
Okay, so it's Harrison.
It can be quite a kerfuffle to try and fix. McLaren's issue in China,
Good to know.
did not start with two completely separate, completely different battery issues.
It's
Yeah,
Harrison.
I mean, really unusual, isn't it, to have two cars not start the race with two different problems. But, you know, for this weekend, Lando Norris has got a new battery, one out of his allocation. He's also got, I think, a new control unit, hasn't he? So,
Okay. So that's Harrison. Good to know. You actually thought I would have thought you would have said it was me. Well, I had a suspicion, but then you said Whingy Feeney, and I immediately knew it was Harrison, because you're the only person that says that. Payash says, where you come from? I come from Australia. I am 100% Australian. In every matter of the word. Every matter of the word, I am 100% Australian. Hand on heart. Not British, not Japanese, not anything else. Do you want his address? Flippin' heck. No. Huh? Jesus Christ. No. Why would you do that? Harrison, I'll just ban you. Why? That is a stupid thing to... Oh my god. Harrison. Jesus. Okay, that's not... Yeah, your mod's gone. Jeez. Yeah, your mod's gone, buddy. Ah, yeah. Wow. Your mod's gone. Flippin' heck. Jesus Christ. Why would you even say that? Wow. That is a stupid thing to say. Cars now on circuit on board with Lewis Hamilton. Making his run into turn number 1 and turn number 2. Now, on approach now into the S's, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, and even through turn 7 as well. But yeah, Harrison, you've lost your mod. Good on you, buddy. Good on ya. Good on ya. Good on you, Harrison. Jesus. Stupid. Really stupid. I don't even know why you'd say that. Anyway, up to the world feed.
He went on to take pole and a 4th consecutive pole, followed by a 4th consecutive win the next day, and I still think that pole lap was a proper champion's lap for Max Verstappen here last year.
Yeah, it was incredible, wasn't it? Well, I have to say, watching trackside this morning,
The upshift's still fine, but down there not working. We get anti-stall. Box. We don't understand the issue.
Right, early
I need that water. Jeez, that's hot.
Racing bulls.
yeah, we'll see how that plays out. I'm sure Ted will keep an eye on it. But I'll say, just watching trackside, the Red Bull didn't look great. I have to say, when you watch through the S's, we've got all these changes to the cars. We've talked a lot about the power units, but ultimately, this is an aero-dependent circuit. And you watched how the Mercedes just changed direction. It was sharp. The nose of the car just was pointy when the drivers turned the wheel. And the Red Bull was not as responsive. What's happened to Pierre Gasly here?
Well, he comes out of the garage, and what's the betting? Someone's going to appear in his vision. It is the Williams of Alex Albon.
I've seen worse. Well,
much
it's not.
worse.
Yeah, we'll do. But Williams doing. I'm sure apologies. Oh yeah, we see that. Sorry about that.
Why is he sorry?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's a very British thing to do, isn't it? Doesn't matter if it's your fault or not, I'm apparently sorry.
I was going to say, that's the Alpine that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, but it's a very British thing, as you well know. I like to apologise even when I'm not in the wrong. No, I do.
You?
Yeah. Yeah, just ask Mrs. Scott. It's fine. Isaac Hadjar crosses the line now, goes fastest with a 1:32.6. He's 3.
Now, immediately, when we're nearly quicker than what we were in FP1. Now, again, the track has improved quite a lot compared to when the cars went out there in FP1. Last year's pole time was on average with what we saw in 2023 and 2024. So, to be honest, if we're up in the 28s, then we're quick. At the moment, it doesn't seem like the track is that quick. It's a 1:32 opening time from Isaac Hadjar. We saw a 1:31.6 in FP1. And it will take all weekend until we get up to about qualifying till we actually get some fast-ish lap times here. Yeah, it will take all weekend for the track to actually rubber in a little bit. As we watch Kimi Antonelli now making his run up into turn number 1, with just under 50 minutes to go into the braking zone. Turn number 1, confirmation apparently. I've just done a bit of research. Apparently, we've got a Ferrari Challenge here this weekend, and Porsche Carrera Cup. So the track probably would have improved if either one of those categories were out there laying down some rubber as we get ready for free practice 2. Be Isaac Hadger at 132.6. Kimi Antonelli 3/10 up through the first sector at the moment. Purple in every sense of the word. The micro sectors not looking too bad either. Now into the hairpin. On approach for about 150 k's an hour. Get the car slowed down. Deep under brakes. Don't get the car locked up. You actually don't lose much time when you lock up down there. So there you go. Fun fact. I feel like you're annoying me, says Whingy Feeney. Which we all know now is Harrison. But I'm not annoying you, Harrison. I would never do that. And I actually was going to text you after this session. But I suppose I will still text you after this session. Kimi Antonelli now through the chicane, using the curbs and power down now. And on the exit, what does Kimi Antonelli do as he makes his run to the line? It's P1. 131.7. George Russell is also purple through both sectors. What can he do as he makes his run to the line? Leclerc moves up into P4, 132.8. And George Russell now run to the line. P1, 131.5. So even now, 8 minutes into this session, we have gone quicker. A lot of the drivers were complaining in FP1 about a whole crap ton of wind. I don't think that's the case anymore, because it does seem like the drivers are finding a bit more time out there. Oscar Piastri purple through the second sector. Does he go to the top? Yes, he does. It's a 131.4 from Oscar Piastri. It's fast now here in FP2, and I think the drivers are starting to use the newer medium tyre, maybe for a race run in this session. We're starting to see some of that pace. Oscar Piastri goes to the top. It's a 131.4 for the first time this year. Lewis Hamilton P4. And it is about 4/10 off. It's 131.8 that time around. On board now with Hulkenberg as he makes his run to the line. What does Hulkenberg do? P6. About 1.1 seconds off the pace. Verstappen has been held up on his flying lap by one of the Alpines. And that would be Colapinto. So Colapinto, we did see in FP1, was in the way of most drivers in that session. He's now in the way of the 4-time world champion, Max Verstappen. 3 or 4-time champion, I'm not sure. I lost count. I lost count in 2-time. I lost count the second world championship he won. 9 minutes gone in this session. We've got Oscar Piastri at the top. And again, just like we saw in free practice 1, changing the front wing of the Red Bull. Quite interestingly. Again, changing that front wing. Possibly testing out a new supply package that they've gotten in for this round. Alex Albon making his run through turn 1 and turn 2. Getting up the curb. And, oh, that was close. Almost parked on the apex.
What is that guy doing? It's dangerous.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah, as Karun was about to say, who was that? Why were they parked there? And do they want a broken rear suspension? Those are the 3 questions I'd ask immediately. Isaac Hadjar scored his first points in F1 by finishing 8th at the Chinese Grand Prix. So yeah, there you go. First points in F1 history for Isaac Hadjar. Not in history of racing, because to be honest, he probably wouldn't be here. That is the RB of Liam Lawson, parked and doesn't seem to be going anywhere. He's taken the helmet off, and when you see a driver take the helmet off, then you obviously know that is not a good sign. Not nearly part of this session. Don't spam, Harrison, don't spam. You know what? Yeah. Okay. Good on you, mate. Don't spam. Jesus. So yeah, down to the pit lane now, Ted Kravitz.
And that is clearly going to affect him for the rest of the weekend. No short run, no long run, apart from what he did in FP1. I'll keep you updated if they do manage to fix it throughout the hour.
29 laps in FP1 and out of the car, and accepting his fate for the time being, and there's nothing he can do about that, sadly for him. Oscar Piastri with the fastest time from George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, who has gone quickest overall in the middle sector. He crosses the line now and goes quicker still by 0.3 of a second from Oscar Piastri. Fuel burning down, tyres up to a very nice temperature, and Oscar Piastri himself going through 130R on a flying lap here.
It's backed off.
And can he keep that going?
Yeah, it's first to second is very good. We've got a yellow flag somewhere, but I think Piastri's going to be able to clear this lap and goes to the top
No,
of
he hasn't
the
backed off.
31.0. So that is the fastest time so far.
As Alex Albon has stopped in his Williams, and this is just
Don't spam,
past the
Harrison.
apex of turn 1. It's Piastri going past.
The throttle is not working.
So he's obviously pressed the throttle. Oh, and nothing happened, but he's managed to reset for the time being.
Alt Control Delete, and away we go.
The computer says no, as the catchphrase used to be. Which is good, because you don't want to see a car parked there for a while, even with double waved yellows, to be honest.
Don't do it again.
Hulkenberg's just gone ahead of Isaac Hadjar, and there's more headaches for a Williams team that's need an aspirin or two.
It looked very difficult to drive. Just down even at turn, watching at turn 2. And Alex really in particular looked like he was struggling to get the car in. It didn't look particularly good on the direction change either. Cappy Portoletto's out of the car as well. So that's 4.
Yeah, that's 4 drivers now. That are out of the car and not participating in this session. Lindblad, Bortoletto, Norris, and Perez are not in the car. At the moment, we actually questioning as to why they are not in the car. Either purple through the first sector for George Russell. Now, Papel for George Russell. And he's about 0.3 up on his personal best. Actually, he's P4 at the moment. He's at 32.8. He's actually slightly down on Oscar Piastri. So that lap from Oscar is a very good lap. Very, very good lap indeed. Burning the battery down the back straight now for George. Car up in front, that is one of the Williams cars. Might be Alex Albon. And as I say, that is Alex Albon. George Russell now making his run through the second chicane and getting the power down. Run of the line for George Russell. He's about 300 down on his teammate. Goes up to P3. There, and Colapinto Verstappen incident noted. Turn 15, driving erratically. Now, I wouldn't say that would be Max Verstappen. You think of Max Verstappen and he's not an erratic driver. I would think that would be Colapinto. George Russell said in the Thursday interview, we're not taking anything for granted this weekend. Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari making a big snap sideways on the exit of Spoon Curve. See the cars, he's just tried to put the power down and big snap. Big snap sideways for Charles Leclerc. And the opposite lock kicked in for that Ferrari. Maybe the Active Aero was slightly still on for that Ferrari. Max Verstappen, yellow through the second sector, so not improving at the moment. He's improving through the first sector. Verstappen, P7, 132.1. Charles Leclerc improving in his Ferrari. Personal best at the moment and goes to the top by nearly 0.05 of a second over Oscar Piastri. It's 131.0. McLaren and Ferrari seem to be getting back in this. In FP1, we saw that it did seem like McLaren were back in it, but then yet again, you'd have to wait until a bit later on in the weekend until we see that pace really show. Harrison said, I'm currently playing Goat Simulator right now. Goat Simulator. Interesting game to be playing. Your commentary is very good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Piash. I apologize if I'm absolutely butchering your name. But, thank you. Thank you. You need to be in the FIA. Well, that would be a goal. I would like to be, a commentator someday. Gotta start small, though. Gotta start small. I actually do commentate for some online leagues as well. So I'm known in the... Actually, I'm not known anywhere, to be completely honest with you. I commentate for a group called Simpulse. What else do I do? I have no idea. Flipping out. Formula League. That's it at the moment. 2 of them. I'm actually doing more commentary straight after this stream. Straight after this one. More commentary straight after this one. Because the first round of Simpulse is on. Oh, no, don't press that, Jesus. Yeah, first round of Simpulse is on. 135.3 from Fernando Alonso. One in Suzuka back in 2006 and at Fuji in 2008. So Fernando Alonso, it's been quite a long time since he's won a race. I think the last time he won a race was Australia. That's 2022 or 3. I could stand corrected, but that could be the last time he won. I'm not completely sure, to be completely honest with you. On the soft tyres though for Fernando Alonso, and he's only gone P18. His teammate P17 at the moment. With just under 45 minutes to go. This is Carlos Sainz. Let's head now down to Ted Kravitz in the pit lane.
It looks like, can you see the two supports about to take the power unit and the gearbox off the car completely?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that does not look good. And Mattia Binotto, if we just pan up, his face at the back of the garage really tells its own story. So Fortunato, I think, is probably out for the session. Certainly will be if they actually take this engine off the back of that Audi. And when I looked at Sergio Perez last, his brakes were being worked on, whether it was hydraulics or just a particular brake issue. We're waiting to hear from Cadillac, but his brakes were being dismantled and then put back together again. That's the latest on these two to one of the many cars that are not working at the moment. Shall I go back to Lando and see if it's fixed yet?
Yeah, do that. And we'll be back with you in about 5 minutes or so. George Russell couldn't improve on his overall best time.
So yeah, George Russell could not improve on a 131.1. Yeah, so we'll see actually if Carlos Sainz can improve. But as I say that, the ad brakes are gonna be the death of me. It's gonna be the death of me. So apologies, ad brakes have come in my way, which is not ideal, must I admit. It is not ideal that there are currently ad brakes on my screen. So please stand by. Please stand by for the awful timing. But actually, lucky I came back when I did. Because I would have probably got copyrighted and wouldn't be able to stream. Yeah, it wouldn't be good. That would not be good. So yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for your kind words, Piash. I do think my commentary is quite good, actually. It is quite good. Yeah, gotta start small in the commentary world. Can't be going full bazunga mode straight away. That ain't happening, let me tell you that much. Jeez. But yeah, I think I could probably find some live timing. Actually, give me a second. That might not be a bad idea because then I can like use that. Give me a second. Give me a second. There should just be live timing. Oh, I'm actually on the Formula 1 main page. There you go. Wow. Jeez. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? There you go. I'm on the live pages of Formula 1. I'm under the Jonathan Wheatley will depart from his team role. Jonathan Wheatley is gone. Oh my God, that's what they were talking about in the press conference. Jesus Christ almighty. Okay, I would explain that situation then. That would explain that. Only Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon out on track at... Only Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon out on track at the moment. Third sector looks to be pretty bad for Mercedes, must I admit. Does seem to be pretty bad. But yeah, still, at the moment, only 2 cars out on track are both Williams. They are still quite far behind in their in their production of the car, must I admit. But the 2025 pole time was 126.9. So in terms of overall track conditions, we're about 5 seconds off the pace because we're currently in 31s at the moment. In 2023, the pole time was oh no, 128.6 pole time. So still slow. But yeah, last year's pole time 26.9. That was a very good lap time. You compare that to nowadays, flipping heck, I don't think you'd be getting anywhere with that time. Don't think you will be. Sonny Jim, don't think you will be. You won't be getting anywhere. But still, it is still both Williams cars out there. Cutting laps. As you'd say. Cutting laps. For the moment. 38 minutes remaining. Investigation after the session. Colapinto Verstappen driving erratically. So that is your confirmation there. Carlos Sainz pounding the curbs through the chicane. Casio triangle, as you'd call it. In front of the line, P11, 1.6 seconds off the pace of Charles Leclerc in his Scuderia Ferrari. Lando Norris still in the garage. Still in the garage. So Mud City coming the way of McLaren in this second free practice session. If it's not one McLaren that's performing, it's the other. If it's not one of them, if it's not both of them, then Jesus, they're nowhere. Like you're thinking last weekend, they were struggling, and now this weekend they look like they're on pace. But you watch, Norris is going to have issues in practice, and then Piastri will be out the race, and once more will not complete another Grand Prix. Which, if you're an Australian fan, you'd be extremely worried. And that is me right now. If you're enjoying the stream, though, hit like button and subscribe. It would very much help out on the way to 200 subscribers. McLaren have had 26 podiums at Suzuka, more than any other constructor. And that would be because of the absolute, complete and utter domination last year in 2025. I was going to say 2026, but not in 2027. Not yet, at least. From the complete and utter domination that we saw from the teams, from McLaren, in a constructor's point of view, complete and utter domination, must I say. Oscar Piastri, though, on the soft compound tyres now, the first driver to actually do a run in this session on the soft tyres. We have seen Fernando Alonso do a run, but he's 4.5 seconds off the pace and doesn't seem to be improving anytime soon. So that's not really indicative, must I say. But the times in free practice 1 nor were indicative. So FP3, actually, this would be the closest times you would get to qualifying conditions. So maybe FP3 might be a bit more of a race run setup session. I know a lot of the teams, they use FP2 for a race run session. But these are the closest conditions you will get to. These are the closest conditions you will get to genuine qualifying pace, qualifying conditions. So it might be smart from Piastri and now what is Leclerc, who is now doing a run on the soft tyres, to actually continue on here. But now my internet has gone all, I don't want to work for you. And he's now decided to sit there and start buffering, which now is no longer happening. So, we're happy. Oscar Piastri up through the second sector by nearly a second. So the track is improving, and this looks to be a very, 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 very good lap from Oscar. Using all the curbs through turn 18. Now, Oscar Piastri nearly a second up, run to the line, and it's gone a second faster than the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. It's a 1:30.1. Fastest time of the weekend. The Australian seems to be getting a bit more hope. That's a good lap. That is a very good lap from Oscar. Now, Lewis Hamilton, personal best through the first sector. Kimi Antonelli, same, personal best through the first sector. Lando Norris, not so quick, but that was a very, 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 very good lap from Oscar Piastri. It seems like McLaren's pace are starting to come back. Again, it's It's early on in the year. It is very early on in the year. And there's a month break between this round and Miami. So anything can happen. Absolutely anything can happen. So we'll see. We will see. 34 minutes to go left in this one. It is no improvement through the second sector for Lewis. So that was a very, very good lap from Oscar Piastri. With the pace that they've shown so far this year, I was not expecting that to happen. At least not in this session. From the Scuderia Ferrari. But somehow, Kimi Antonelli's decided to top that. Purple through the second sector, purple through the second sector, but has not gone to the top. He's done a 1:30.2. Has the Mercedes driver. So now most drivers are out there on the soft tyres. And will be improving through the S's for Charles Leclerc. Just got up on the curb again, and 2 snaps sideways. Equals very dead tyres for the Ferrari. Up on one curb, up on the other, and 2 big snaps sideways for the Scuderia Ferrari. As that car seems to be struggling with quite a bit of rear grip. So something that the team will need to possibly focus on coming into FP3 tomorrow. Charles Leclerc now. Personal best through the first sector. And making his run up through into 130R. About half a second off the pace of Oscar Piastri. Which is strange to hear, especially this year. When we've seen the pace of that McLaren, it doesn't seem to be anywhere close to where Mercedes are, unless it's just a lucky lap. That was a big step sideways from Charles Leclerc and nearly sent it off into the gravel. It's 130.8 that lap for Charles Leclerc. Max Verstappen also out on the soft tyres, P8, and he's only set a lap on the mediums at the moment. So this will be an improvement compared to the mediums. Now on the softs. We will see what Max Verstappen can do. Jack Crawford on the pit wall. Or is he? Speaker? Confirmation, please. No audio. Well, that's a problem. Well, that's just a slight problem. Just a tiny little problem. Okay. That's amazing. And now my internet's deciding to be all special with me. No speaker equals no audio equals more commentary, and my voice does not have the capacity to do that. Can I go back a little bit? Actually, that's a bit too much. Jesus Christ! Have mercy. Come on. Flippin' heck. There we go. There we go. Now, this is the true test. Come on! What must a man do?
My full-time
There we
job, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. You know, a lot of time in the simulator. You know, it's fascinating. I was able to, jump in with only 3 laps. And be straight on the pace straight away, and I felt very comfortable straight away, and it felt very easy. So yeah, all that simulator work doing good.
Mega, we'll come back to you in a moment. George Russell's just done a soft tyre run and ended up 2/10 back from Oscar Piastri, with Kimi Antonelli now on an outlap ahead of him. Lando Norris is back in the garage. Ted Kravitz.
Down at McLaren, the last thing that Lando needs is another problem, and the good news is I don't think the problem that they cited on the telemetry and brought him into the garage for is session ending. They have had the side pod off, they have been looking into the left-hand side of the car, but it looks like they've done a quick fix, and the car's getting buttoned back up again, and he's about to go out again. This close call, like another one for Lando.
This is why Franco Colapinto is going to go and see the stewards, weaving down the straight before 130R, and then he's right in Max Verstappen's way, as Verstappen was coming up behind him on the push lap. and thinking about taking the inside line, and Franco's right there. Jack, how do you see that, Jack?
Well, not ideal for Max. It's your top speed there, 320, 330 for some. So, not nice.
Sorry, that is Alpine team and driver asleep.
Yes.
They should be looking in the mirrors, looking at the GPS. That is unacceptable. Yeah, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I wonder if, well, see, nicely Lando going back up. I wonder if they just did like an installation lap to check if it was all working okay. Probably, because that's quite a quick turnaround. So maybe they just needed to do one installation lap, check that the hydraulic pressure is holding, and then they've sent him back out, which is good news. Antonelli, Crofty, he looks strong in the early part of this session on the medium tyre compared to George, and he's once again just carried over that sort of 1/10 advantage, isn't he?
He certainly has. How easy, Jack, is it to overdrive on this track, though?
Well, for me, it was I was under the limit, that's for sure. Around this track, no room for error at this track. The corners where you can over push it. I think there's only turn 13 where you can really push it, turn 16. But I wouldn't say there's anywhere else where you have a lot of margin for error. So I think it's a track to really build up to over the free practice session, or even during the session. You always get a feel for it, and then try to explore the limit without going over, of course.
Sorry, Corinne.
Yeah, actually good middle sector of the lap. Not quite as good in sectors 1 and 3, so overall does not improve. 30.5, so he's about 3 tenths slower on that lap.
I asked that question to you, Jack. Something Charles Leclerc was talking about, Ollie Behrman yesterday in the press conference, about these cars. It is easy to overdrive these cars at the moment and to push too hard and then suffer a knock-on result from it. It's all very, very different to 2025.
Yeah, I think what they kind of mean there is, with the energy deployment stuff, it's so, it's so easy that you can overuse for no lap time gain, and that means that.
There's 5 chicanes that Charles Leclerc is threading his way through there, and he's done very, very well, to be honest.
Yeah, but if you overuse your energy, that means you're just going to be slow in the straight. So it's super important to manage your energy well, and really, it's such a strategic game, especially at this track through sector 1. Like, you want to just have enough throttle where you're not using any energy through sector 1, but you still need good speed, and it's really challenging track for energy management.
Just to point out, Piastri, Antonelli, Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton top 5. Alex Albon, 6th fastest. Alex Albon, who earlier stopped on the track and has now gone 6th fastest. And Verstappen, we were talking earlier, or just before we went down to 10, terrible understeer, so he's boxing. He's like, I'm not even going to bother carrying on for a second push lap.
But that's what it looked like on the track side. That's what I was saying before. The Red Bull, he just looked like he was chasing the front end. He's just having to wait and wait and wait. And we know Max, of any driver on the grid, that's a balance that he really dislikes. The fact he's still 3 tenths ahead of Isaac Hadjar suggests that the car's not there. Lawson in the Racing Bulls, with all due respect to them, should not be within 800s of Max Verstappen in the top Red Bull car. So that is, that's not a happy camp, as Lando's gone 6th on a set of mediums. So that's encouraging. McLaren, there's a good encouragement from that, wasn't they? The fact that Piastri quickest, after they've all had to go on the soft, of course, we don't know, Mercedes sandbagging or whatever, but on the whole, that is more convincing than McLaren has looked than at any point this season.
Yeah, and I think Andrea Stella was at pains to suggest that during the press conference. As you can see, Sergio Perez is now out on the track and is on a push lap himself on the soft compound tyre, as Ollie Behrman goes ahead of Max Verstappen and up into 9th place.
Jack, it might be a slightly odd question to ask you when you're sitting in Aston Martin kit, but you are American. Is it cool to see an American team on the grid, or another American team on the grid?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, of course, the sport is growing in the U.S. 3 U.S. races, I think, is incredible, more than any other country. and you know, it's just been growing so much in the US. It's super cool to see how many, you know, fans are getting into it and teams now. So yeah, just cool to see America's finally showing up a little bit in Formula 1.
We've got planned for Miami. A couple of meet and greets.
Probably.
Some Jack Crawford merch.
Probably.
Some
Not
Hawaiian
yet.
shirts.
Maybe.
Jack is back. Right on the back of the shirt. Or something.
I'll think about it.
I'm there with ideas for you, my friend. Not a problem. You are going to get spotted a lot and recognised by many.
You'd be surprised. There's bigger athletes than me in America.
Well, you say that. You say that. Right. When's your next FP1 session?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. Even in China, I didn't know I was going to be driving in here. So
Really?
When did you find out? What, when you got
till
to
last
Lincoln?
Thursday, yeah.
Well, it kind of makes sense. Obviously, Fernando has come here, you know, a day late. You know, he's a new dad and wants to spend a bit more time at home, which is good. Has he shown you pictures yet?
No, I haven't even. I've barely seen him, to be honest. I think it just arrived just before the FP1, and of course was working hard with the engineers to get ready for FP2.
See, that's dedication for you. Whenever you are back in the car, you are more than welcome back here in the commentary box as well. Come and report to us. Give us track conditions, right? We talked about your driving, but in terms of the track conditions, the new resurfaced bit, super grippy?
Super grippy. Yeah, one of the highest grip tracks I've ever driven, that's for sure. And also super windy, I thought. You know, we have a tailwind in the S's and into turn 13. Every time I came up turn 7, had a snap of oversteer. I've been seeing it a lot, you know, exit 7 and then into, you know, 13 here as well, like that. And that's all tailwind, and then you go through 13, 14 and you just understeer because then you have no wind. You go from a tailwind to basically no wind. So it's pretty tricky out there getting used to the wind condition.
Love it. Jack, thanks ever so much, mate. Great to see you. Take care and get back on track soon. Lewis Hamilton on another fast lap, a push lap on the soft compound tyres, but sadly for him, not putting in a personal best in the middle sector and stays 5th fastest then as he crosses the line. It's about 4 tenths ahead of Lando Norris. Still to see Lando Norris on the soft tyres, same with Lance Stroll. It's Oscar Piastri who is fastest so far by about 1/10 of a second.
Whoa.
This is Lando Norris with that wind moments that Jack was just describing to us all going into Spoon.
Yeah, one of several drivers, I think you mentioned even in FP1, right? When you got that tailwind behind you, these cars are incredibly sensitive, and it's so fast. It's so fast on the entry to Spoon that if you get a little gust, it just puts you off there. Max Verstappen not having a happy time, locked up into the hairpin there. You know, would you put money on Max Verstappen being behind Nico Hülkenberg, Alex Albon in the first day of running here at Suzuka?
Well, let's just put it into perspective. This is the man who's been on pole for the last 4 Japanese Grand Prix and is the only driver ever to win 4 Japanese Grand Prix in succession, and he has not got that. He's not got really bad in the 12 months since he was last here. The Red Bull car is not in a place that he would want it to be. You could just tell that on the braking into the chicane. It's all surprising he doesn't come into the pits. Now he carries on, completes the lap. And, there's another one chalked off for Max and for Red Bull, who will be doing a lot of set-up work and sim work overnight to try and salvage what looks like it's going to be a disappointing weekend.
Oh, good lord. Okay, so Jack Crawford explaining a lot in general about what I would think would be a lot of wind. We saw Lando Norris through Spoon Curve, struggled quite a bit, actually. Struggling quite a bit with genuine conditions. That was Lando Norris. Jack Crawford mentioned quite a bit. Also that a bit of a tailwind, which is quite interesting. Well, a bit as well. Bit of a tailwind indeed. Yeah, out on the soft tyres at the moment. Max Verstappen is actually currently doing a race run. He's done about 10 laps on those hards, so we'll see how long actually he continues to run on those. We've still got Stroll, Lindblad, and Bortoletto in the pit lane. But yeah, if I was to break down exactly what Jack Crawford was saying there, the car is completely different compared to 2025. Also, brand new resurfacing apparently into this weekend. Brand new resurfacing, so increasing the track grip by a little bit as well. Increasing the track grip quite a bit indeed. But yeah, at the moment, the fastest lap time 1:30.1. The time to beat for the moment. Is that beatable? Most likely. Once we get into sessions like FP3 and qualifying, those times will most likely be beatable come FP3 and qualifying. So we'll see. We will see. We'll see how this actually all unfolds as well. We've just got under 17 minutes to go left in this session. And I'm expecting maybe we might see another soft tyre on by the end of this session as well. But yeah, thank you to Pishu, thank you Harrison, of course, thank you Harrison for joining the stream. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been quite an interesting free practice 2 session so far. Currently on ad break at the moment, so currently waiting for that ad break to go away. Yeah, I'm literally going to be ending this stream. I'm going to be heading off to another commentary event. So, Jesus heck. Nearly 3 hours of commentary in one day. Man, that is quite a heck of a lot. That is quite a lot, indeed. But yeah, just under 16 minutes to go. Still Oscar Piastri sitting at the top of the session over Kimi Antonelli in P2. But we did hear Karun Chandhok there saying a few moments ago about how possibly that could be a bit of a confidence boost as we take a little replay of Lando Norris into the chicane, going deep into turn 16. Locking up what looks to be the right front tyre. Bit of a issue maybe with the active aero on that car as well. So that will be something that the McLaren team will be needing to resolve before FP3. Ollie Behrman now starting a lap on the medium tyres into turn 1. He goes. Turn 2 on the approach to about 180 kilometres an hour. We saw Charles Leclerc early on in the session up through the S's, struggling with traffic. And that will be a big talking point as well come qualifying. Quite a big talking point indeed. We've got trackside reporters out there at the moment.
With some of the most amazing fans in Formula One. Here are one of the best places to watch an F1 car, the S's. I could have picked any corner in the S's to come and talk about, but we thought we'd talk about this one because there's such a difference in how the cars look out there from car to car. Normally when you get out to a racetrack, you look at the F1 cars going round, and I can't see a difference. This year I can, which is awesome. I'm watching the Mercedes go through now. They're able to put the car wherever they want. The change of direction is insane. Red Bull isn't too bad, but it seems to have a lot of understeer through turn 6, which then positions him wrong for turn 7. We also like to call Dunlop. So there's a real difference. Ferrari come through here. First of all, it was Lewis Hamilton, massive oversteer through turn 6. And it positioned him wrong for turn 7. Charles is taking a really wide exit through 6 to get a good run and a good exit here, which compromises turn 7, but he seems to think that works for him. Here we have a Haas coming through. They're not on the quickest laps at the moment. As you can see, you get the little flicker of the rear lights before you get into turn 7, but the cars look super quick. I know they've got a lot less downforce and they're not running at full power at this point in the track, but the change of direction looks phenomenal. So I am loving the 2026 cars. And if you ever get the chance to come to Japan to watch an F1 race, and you come to Suzuka, you got to watch in the S's. It is one of the best places to watch. I remember my father used to always come out here and watch the testing, and now I know why, because it is just phenomenal. Here comes the Alpine through here. See, they look really calm now. They've got a bit more fuel on board, so they're a bit calmer. Oh, it looks so sparkly, the racing boards. Lovely. Here comes Max, nice and tidy, getting the car up to the right before turn 7. I'm not sure if turn 7's flat, but it sounds like it is, especially for the quicker cars. Here comes Charles. Yeah, he runs a little bit further out, and then he has a tighter entry to 7. But he's obviously looked at the data, and that seems to work for him. He's the only one that does that. But yeah, it's pretty awesome out here, guys.
It was a very sensible man, was your dad, Jensen, and he knew a good place to go and stand by a Grand Prix track. So it doesn't surprise me that on the outside of the S's was where he set up camp for a practice session to watch his boy drive around Suzuka. Thank you very much indeed. It's race simulations at the moment. Sergio Perez is just in the garage currently. We'd dearly love to get back out on the track. And reminded with the graphic on the screen there that today is 15 years since he made his Formula One debut and would have scored points had he not have been disqualified for a technical infringement, I think it was, in the Sauber. It's also the anniversary today of Sergio's first ever pole in Formula One, Saudi Arabia 2023. So a double celebration of sorts for Sergio. There's your track dominance, Piastri over Leclerc. Quite a bit of papaya in that particular graphic.
Yeah, but the Ferrari's good in the high-speed corners, basically, isn't it? He's quicker in the S's and he's quicker through the thickness. So I don't think it's quicker at Spoon, but actually that tells the story of some form, isn't it?
It certainly does. And meanwhile, with another story in Tales from the pit lane, Ted Roberts.
Thank you, Crofty. A couple of things from down here. First of all, on Sergio Perez, they are just paying attention to the barge board. The chief mechanic, Nathan Divey, is just actually having a look at that barge board that kept him in the garage a little bit earlier. I think it's okay, but that's what keeps keeping Perez in the Cadillac garage. Bortoletto looks like he's about to go out for free practice 2, which is great news. So good work on the power unit issue, the engine problem for Audi, for the likeable Brazilian. And if you're talking anniversaries, Crofty, can I wish David Coulthard a happy birthday?
55 today?
Yes. How did you know? You know everything, don't you? Happy birthday, DC. Last seen on the Gatwick Express. Man of the people. I'll just leave it there.
So you were obviously up there as well.
I wasn't. I was waiting for the Thames link, but I shepherded him on the Gatwick Express, and he went about his business once he got to Victoria.
Happy birthday, DC. Amongst money, I have got it actually written down here in the Red Bull column, as he was the first Red Bull driver to ever score a podium. 55 today.
Doesn't look good. Yeah, day older than 54.
I was waiting for you to make a comment, and there it was eventually. Right. Meanwhile, down at Ferrari, we were kind of touching on this a little bit earlier. While they're in a position whereby, former Ferrari man, now the man very much in charge at Audi, with Jonathan Wheatley going, while they are comfortably the second best team and ahead of McLaren by the margin that they have been, I think I'm in very much agreement with you. Get aggressive on the strategy, see what they can do with Mercedes. However, McLaren's form so far this weekend, unless Ferrari are holding back a lot, McLaren are, might mean they have to be a bit more conservative to preserve that second best team.
Yeah, but I still think when you've got this advantage that they seem to have off the line and in the early part of the stint, now that could be because they're able to carry less fuel, because this year the regulations mean if you've got a higher calorific fuel, you've got a different fuel flow rate. It's all very complicated. I'm not going to bore you with that now, but there's, as we see, lots of high fives for the mechanics at Audi. Well done for getting Gabi Bortoleto out. For whatever reason, the Ferrari is quick off the line and quick in the early part of the stint. We've seen that in the 3 races we've seen so far. So make hay, just force the others, whether it's McLaren, whether it's Mercedes, force them to have to work hard to get past you. Don't just give them the opportunity to have free air and because having see a snap there from Bortoleto on the soft corner. Forcing them to use the battery where they don't want to use it to fight you will cost your rival.
Yeah,
that's what we're learning in this type of Formula One. So, I thought Ferrari in that early part were doing a great job because George was fighting 2 Ferraris in Melbourne.
Yeah.
He couldn't get the battery pack where he wanted to, and he was constantly in this battle with the 2 of them. And then they didn't pit under the BSA, just let him off the hook.
Because they felt, actually at that time, just run what on paper is our quickest race.
And it's like you have to look at the situation you're in. The situation they were in, they were fighting 2 dogs against 1. Just keep the pressure on, because in a straight fight, the Mercedes is a faster car, so you have to, take. No problem.
Well, he's going a lot slower than you'd anticipate. Lando Norris, by the way, soft tyres, is on a quick lap currently. Now, I don't think Bortoleto was slowing down to make a gap necessarily, although he is on the soft tyre. So that is possible, but I think he actually was on a fast lap, so discount that theory. Lando, fair play to Will Joseph from McLaren. They got him out into a decent gap, so he's not being held up by slower moving cars who are on race simulations, not quali simulations.
Well, it's half a second down on Piastri, and the track, would have evolved probably in the last, 30 minutes, 25 minutes since Piastri did his time.
But is he not as dialed in as you would want? That was on the limit, wasn't it?
Yeah, struggled for traction out of that final chicane. The rear of the car pretty lively as he tried to unleash 1,000 horsepower and ends up about half a second down. So 4th fastest ahead of the Ferraris, but he won't be too happy with that time.
No, he certainly won't. His teammate Oscar Piastri has the fastest time. Oscar Piastri, who put his car on the front row for the first time here back in 2023, got his maiden podium in Formula One by finishing 3rd in that race. Back to the travails of Gabriel Bortoleto. As we ride on board with the Audi driver, just having a little listen as he makes his way up through the S's. And we'll keep an eye on his progress. Still hasn't set a time as he came up through the pits. George Russell, meanwhile, 3rd fastest driver overall, a championship leader by 4 points. 6 minutes to go of this session. Everyone out on track, bar Arvid Lindblad, who only did 1 lap before he had to pit for gear issues. Lance Stroll, who's back in the pits again, having done his soft tyre run, and Nico Hulkenberg in the other Audi.
I was just trying to see whether Bortoleto did just do a drive-through.
I think he did a drive-through, yeah.
Okay, so maybe they're just trying to find a better space for him. He's come out behind Lando Norris.
So you would imagine Lando's either going to pit or go for another lap. So that should hold Bortoleto up. And I actually think he's in a very nice gap. He's actually just overtaken Lando Norris down the straight towards 130R. Frustrating afternoon for Arvid Lindblad, who's had to watch from the pit wall and will not be going out for this session.
Yeah, it's a tough one for him, isn't it? Having missed most of FP1 in China as well. Like, as a rookie especially, and the only rookie on the grid, he needs the mileage more than anyone else. I've just looked on Sky Race Control, by the way, and Bortoleto did a drive-through and then a practice start at the end of the pit lane. So maybe that was the plan for Audi all along.
Yeah, and he is now in a very nice gap, actually, as he makes his way around the second corner. Onwards on this qualifying simulation lap. Gabriel Bortoletto, who raced, of course, here for the first time last year, qualified 17th, finished 19th, didn't have the greatest experience that day. We'll be hoping for much better things this year. That was really aggressive, I thought, shifting down there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, their dart shifts and their shifts in general just sound quite aggressive, quite harsh, and it must cost them performance. You know, we've seen this evolution of the speed of the gear change over the last 20 odd years in F1, and it's nowadays they have what they call Type 3. It's just so smooth with the top P. That just sounds like bang, a clunky, and a lot of energy going through. But you know, clearly they're happy with it, so they're carrying on.
It kind of is what it is, but I think their engine is slightly down on power compared to the Mercedes, which is the leading power unit. We think we haven't got the dyno numbers necessarily.
It's a good point because about dyno numbers, because we're coming up to a stage of the season where the engine manufacturers will have to start thinking about making those applications. You know, Honda, you'd imagine, is standing front of that queue. Yes. There's a review, isn't there, after what should have been 6 races around the teams, the manufacturers essentially can apply to the FIA saying, look, we are a certain percentage off the benchmark, and therefore could you please give us a waiver to make some changes. Yeah, there's always a bit of politics and some gamesmanship in that in terms of how you prove how far off you are.
Well, Ferrari think that they're far enough back on the Mercedes to qualify for a bit of an upgrade opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm sure Mercedes will feel differently. You know, that's what I mean. There's a tough game for the FIA to manage, but that's what they're there for.
Picking up a toe then behind Carlos Sainz is Nico Hulkenberg, who sets up on his latest lap here. Interesting going back out on the soft tyre, but I assume that's because we're getting right to the end and he's going to want those soft tyres for his practice starts. Max Verstappen back out there again, and once more, can't struggle to at all.
He's not had a good day, has he? Would not want to be in the debrief at Red Bull after this particular session. 10th for him, 15th for Hadjar. That's it's not a happy camp.
Well, I don't think Max is going to go to that debrief and start banging his fist on the table, but he's going to want answers as to why this car is where it is at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, I look at the start of last season, and the Red Bull was not anywhere close to the McLaren. It was a real challenge. Yet Max dragged an incredible lap out of it. Got pole, won the race. And he sounded pretty frustrated in the early part of last season. So, you know, I'm just saying, this year it looks even harder. They look even further away. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is more frustrated, right?
I think it's a combination of things for Max Verstappen as well. He's not overly fond of the new regulations. I would imagine were the power units a bit more to his liking and less reliance on the energy deployment, he wouldn't mind driving cars with a little less downforce. That isn't the issue necessarily, but he also is kind of pootling around in between, 6th and 10th currently at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I don't think that is necessarily all down power unit.
No.
Oh, very so, because I've got no confidence in the car.
Wow.
Copy.
Which is not something you've heard Lewis Hamilton reporting back in the opening 2 rounds this season.
No, it's also not something you want around this track. Schwartz's last lap at 36.4. Leclerc's only done 36.3, so that is comparable pace.
Lando Norris down towards Spoon we go.
Once again, having a snap on the way in and the rear.
It's like exactly the same in FP1. Lots of cars doing just that.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure as part of the Red Bull debrief, they'll explain to Max that we weren't the only one that were having those issues. And
yeah, Piastri struggling there, trying to get in the second part of the apex. The checkered flag is now out. Now, there's a different procedure, Croffy, isn't there? At the end of this session, the FIA issued some new race director's notes.
It is, where the drivers are permitted to have not one, but 2 practice starts on the grid. Which I think, in all honesty, if you've not got a load of support races needing time on the track, it's a very sensible option to have, because some starts have been good, some starts have been bad, and some starts have been awful for some of the drivers. And it's obviously a very different starting procedure to last year, so give them a chance to practice a bit more.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think, and you know what, it's the sort of thing which is just better for everyone, isn't it?
Bit of common sense. Isaac Hadjar has a car coming out of the pits right where he was planning to be.
What is he doing? Can you even do that? Come on.
He may be silent.
No, like, why?
Why did I?
Well, why? Because he was coming out of the pits to do his practice starts, and can he even do that? Yes, because he did.
Yeah.
Was he right to do that? I think he was far enough away, wasn't he?
He was fine. I mean, they're practicing the pit exit. It's going to count to the Grand Prix, isn't it? So, and it's free practice. Every driver can carry on their program. They're not obliged to pander to other people. So, no, I thought it was fine.
What do you make of this session then, Karun? Oscar Piastri, the lead McLaren, the McLaren that got 27 laps in. Lando Norris got 15 laps in. And if they bought those shirts in Melbourne, they probably didn't get much use during the race, given that Oscar didn't take part in the race. But ahead by by just under a tenth from Kimi Antonelli, looked good out there. Race runs didn't seem to be too bad either, and a bit of a confidence boost. Not for a man who needs a lot of confidence, but just needs a bit of track time.
Yeah, I'm encouraged by what we've seen from McLaren. They looked, better in FP1 as well compared to Shanghai. They built on that, certainly on the Piastri side of the garage. I'm sure Lando's session was compromised by the hydraulic issue early on. So let's wait and see. When we get to FP3 and qualifying, I think Lewis Hamilton said in China, didn't he, that he knows Mercedes always turn it up a notch when they get to the second and third parts of qualifying. So let's wait and see. It was quite nice to hear Lewis give away some of Mercedes' secrets.
Right.
That guy.
Oscar Piastri's never qualified, by the way, outside the top 6 at Suzuka in his 3 previous visits, and was the man that headed FP2. This time last year, it was a 128.1 back then. It's a 130.1. So 2 seconds. Given that you've lost 30% of downforce on these cars, just 2 seconds a lap slower.
Yeah, and we're so early in the road cycle. That was a lap time at the end of a 4-year mature cycle. So I think that's about the window where we expected, really.
Oscar gets away for his first practice start, and obviously this grid a little different to a lot of other grids because it's downhill, and as you mentioned earlier, very steeply downhill too.
I remember cycling around here a few years ago, and I came out of the chicane, I started pedaling along, and I looked down at my sort of cycling speedometer and thought, it's not quite fast. And there was a point, as I passed the sort of pit exit, I looked down, and I was doing 73 kilometers an hour.
What?
And I thought, on little skinny tires, and I'm not a professional cyclist, and I thought to myself, this is quite fast if I do hit the deck. You're just rolling. It's so the gradient is much more than it looks on television.
So
there it is. Free practice 2 done. Oscar Piastri ends on top over Kimi Antonelli and George Russell in position 3 over Lando Norris, then Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Hülkenberg, Alex Albon, Ollie Behrman, Max Verstappen in position 10, rounding out your 10 fastest cars throughout that session, but it's 1:30.1. The ending time for Oscar, Esteban Ocon, Liam Lawson, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Isaac Hadjar, the two Frenchmen. Then Gabriel Bortoleto, Franco Colapinto, the Argentinian. Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, and Sergio Perez. And your top 20. Then it would most likely be Lance Stroll and Arvid Lindblad, who did not finish. Did not even do a lap in that session. Arvid Lindblad, he did one out lap at the start of the session, but that was it. So that is it for FP2. We'll be back tomorrow for FP3. Here, so back for FP3 tomorrow from 1:15, then followed by qualifying from 4 o'clock. Sunday, I'll be on air 25 minutes before lights out for a 4 o'clock race start for lights out at 4 o'clock. So yeah, that is it for practice day, Friday, here for Formula 1. I'll be back tomorrow live on air from 5 minutes past 1 for 1:15 start for FP3. But that is it for me. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon for FP3. Bye-bye.